Hi, and welcome to Reconnected, your home for everything strategy, innovation, and entrepreneurship. In this video, I'm going to continue with a topic that is vital for anyone who is or aspires to be a high stakes investor. We're talking about how to navigate foreign investments into Africa in 2025. In part 1 and 2, I gave you guys more general advice, and I'm sure those of you who plan to invest in Africa already understand, I guess, the basic experts that you need. For instance, lawyers, accountants, so on and so forth. In this video, I'm going to be giving you a list of specific expertise that you're going to need on your team in order to succeed. Number 1, financial compliance officer. So, in part 2, I also mentioned the importance of financial compliance paperwork. You will definitely need someone who specializes in financial compliance specifically to assist your accountants and your lawyers. What financial compliance officers do is basically go over your paperwork and make sure that all your terms are within the regulation points of the South African Reserve Bank or that country's federal bank in terms of how investments can come into the country and out of the country. It's important for your paperwork to be financially compliant, not just in depositing your investment, but withdrawing your investment. If your original financial compliance paperwork does not stipulate how you plan to withdraw your profits from the country, it can be still considered as financial non-compliance. All the regulations are constantly changing. The financial compliance officials who work at the banks are legally not even supposed to tell us how often they are constantly changing. So it is very important for you to understand the compliance aspect of your financial transactions, your investment, in order for you to successfully deposit into the country and withdraw out of the country without the Reserve Bank holding or blocking your funds. The second expert you'll need is a triple BEE specialist. If you're investing into South Africa specifically, you will definitely need a triple BEE specialist. But every African country has some form of similar legislation. So whichever legislation applies here, you need a specialist for it. Now, what is BEE? As I explained in part 2, BEE is simply put a point system, and you gain more points by how you actually empower the economy of the country that you are investing in. Working with a BEE specialist can guide you on implementing realistic strategies, programs, and initiatives within your business in order for you to gain BEE points. BEE specialists are vital for foreign investors who might not quite understand the purpose of the legislation and may start to confuse themselves and overcomplicate the process. But really, there are realistic ways for you not only just to gain BEE points, but for you to empower the community around you. And eventually, as you improve your BEE status, you will start being able to qualify for tax incentives, government sponsorships, government loans. You'll attract better quality staff, and you'll just be considered a more valuable company to the local economy. Expert number 3, strategists. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. If you insist on bringing in things like your own marketing teams, branding teams, then you will definitely need local strategists in order to help guide them around local regulations, cultural differences, local trends, all those things. We also highly suggest bringing in strategists for your sustainability, your environmental, and your community strategies. And having a strategy firm in Africa as a foreign investor will allow you to stay on top of local trends, shifting political attitudes, and all these things that could affect your business, even if you're not physically here, or even if you can't afford to have a dedicated department for that in the business. So I definitely advise bringing in all kinds of business strategists as soon as possible in order for you to best navigate the complications of any industry that you're entering into in Africa. Expert number 4, a cultural advisor. You'll need a cultural advisor simply because African cultures differ from each other depending on region and tribe. And overall, African culture in just professional spaces even is quite different from Western and Eastern culture. So just in order for you to, be respectful, engaging, um, and all these things for you to approach business correctly here, I do advise having a cultural advisor. Many people skip this part and they think, oh, no, it's fine. Yeah, they're going to love me. And then they do something like walk into a room of people and not greet every single person in that room. Yeah, that's something you're expected to do here. Those like little cultural nuances are very important. And I do advise you, if you've never actually been in Africa outside of just a holiday, for you to bring in a cultural advisor, for you to better understand the cultural nuances and also better understanding the African consumer. You know, for us, it's not just about how much money you earn. That's not the only thing that determines why you want to buy something. So even for just the better development of your idea, for you to know if the product is even feasible or if the opportunity is really that profitable here, just bring in a cultural advisor and they'll be able to guide you more on the cultural nuances that can make or break a successful business. The fifth expert you'll need is an environmental and spiritual consultant. So, this is a touchy subject, but in Africa, environmentalism and spirituality go hand in hand. There are lots of areas that are considered sacred by culture and spiritual practices, but not necessarily demarcated as sacred areas. It also includes things like nature conservation, understanding the flora and fauna in that area so that your construction or any other actions in your project that might affect the environment, that you understand both the environmental and spiritual implications of that action. I'm sure a lot of you are rolling your eyes at me, but that's fine. A lot of foreign investors do think that this is an unnecessary step and end up causing a lot of damage in the area that they have to pay for. Let me tell you a little story. Here in Mafeking, there was a guy that decided to build two small guest houses in the area. It was a private investor. He himself is not from Mafeking, but like, his great grandmother, someone was, and he wanted to build a guest house here. He built the guest house without any environmental or spiritual consultation. He refused to bring in someone for that. Okay, cool. He builds the guest house, it's very successful. Less than 3 months after the guest house opened, the entire area around his guest house floods. When the municipality came and did an investigation, they saw that it wasn't a municipal fault, it wasn't even an environmental fault. It was a fault that went undetected during construction that was caused by his construction team. That flood damaged and basically dilapidated almost 67 houses in the area, and he had to pay out every single homeowner. So, I mean, it's okay if you don't believe in it. It's okay if you don't care about environmentalism or spirituality, but you should bring a consultant in if you want to do business in Africa. Okay? Expert 6 and 7 you'll need is both a cultural and political liaison. In Africa, we have two systems of authority. We have the government, ministers, ward councillors, premiers, presidents, like the typical government. But then we also have the cultural authorities. These are the tribal houses. These are the Kosis, which means chiefs slash kings. They have royal courts with different members. Those members have liaisons. Those liaisons have assistants. It is its own entire political system. On the political side, there's just a lot of political parties in Africa. We don't have anything like America where it's like a two-party system. We have lots of political parties, and a political affiliation can make or break a business. Having a political liaison can help you understand which political parties, which areas, which power players in the political sphere you can align yourself with in order for your business to, gain favorable reputation in the political world or favor from things like changing regulations. On the cultural side, it's more of a social authority that you're going for. If you are entering an area or entering a smaller town, it is in your best interest to approach the tribal houses in the same way that you would approach a chamber of commerce. introduce yourself, network, establish networks in those areas as well. Having a cultural liaison will help you do that. A lot of investors try and skip that part, and then maybe only later, when they eventually want to open a store or expand into smaller towns out of the big metros, only then do they want to go to the tribal houses. But by then, it's kind of too late, you know? So, from the beginning, if you can have people help you establish both cultural and governmental ties as your business is growing, by the time you need them, they'll be there and it could be useful for you in the future. And expert number 8 is a HR/labor law expert. I cannot stress this enough. South African labor law is not like anywhere else, okay? It's not like America where you can just hire and fire people and call them at any time. It's not like Europe where you need like a letter of release in some countries before you quit. So we have a lot of different kinds of regulations. You know, you need someone to train even you on what the expectations are, both legally and socially, of a boss or of a manager in order to protect your business from litigation. It is really a stumbling block that catches a lot of foreign investors, because you think that you can talk to people here the way you talk to them at home. Ha! It is very important from the beginning that you have somebody who understands HR and labor law, even if you're just a startup, even if you're just hiring people on a freelance basis, the labor laws here can still apply. So, whatever contract, whatever treatment, whatever interactions that you have with that person can be liable for you to deal with the legal repercussions. Yeah, so that's all the advice that I'll be sharing in this video. But if you're serious about investing in Africa, then let us take the guesswork out of it for you. Reach out to us at Reconnected. We are a strategy consultancy that specializes in creating strategy and implementation plans specifically to help entrepreneurs and investors best succeed in Africa. Thank you so much for watching this video, and let us know how we can help you.